how would you explain and describe the synergy that you felt during these times? Like the music being there, the characters being there, the momentum being there. Because I might be over, romanticizing it, but it sounds as a special moment. It sounds as a special moment in time. And what was it like for you to experience it and to know that you were responsible for the development of this special thing that literally every party involved is being benefited?
It was terrifying. I'd just become a parent. I had just started a family. I had to look after that first and foremost. I had a relationship with another band that I had spent 5 years in progressing and developing it. Mm-hmm. And I had to make sure that that did not get dropped or fumbled through my fingers. And then I had this other crew who were, everybody knows, no one would work with them. They could not get a manager to save their lives. Nobody would touch them because they were so problematic in their behavior. Mm-hmm. And to keep all those balls in the air seemed impossible. But the fact was, I had a commitment to Great White. I made a commitment to Guns N' Roses. I had to see it through. Mm-hmm. So that kind of focuses you up. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to get airplay. And MTV decide that they're not going to play you for 6 months, which totally confounded me. I could not understand that at all. Radio, I did understand because they're playing Bad Company. Mm-hmm. I feel like making love. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have, welcome to the jungle. I mean, they're not going to mesh. Yeah. Okay. So they're not going to be on the radio. I thought MTV would come to the party. They didn't. MTV had to be severely bullied just to put them on overnights in the January when we'd released the record in the previous July. But it was terrifying because you make these commitments. And of course, the other thing about a commitment is when you make a commitment to someone else, primarily you're making that commitment to yourself, mm-hmm. because you cannot walk away if it doesn't get somewhere. You cannot just go, oh, this looks too difficult, I'm going to back off, because then you've let yourself down, let alone anybody else. Mm-hmm. So in any commitment that I make, I'm making a commitment to myself that I can get somewhere with this. And that focuses you up. And short answer, I used to sleep like a baby until I had one. I used to sleep like a baby until I had Guns N' Roses in my life. From that point on, I've suffered from insomnia for the entire length of my life.
Wow.
That is the one thing that GNR will bequeath to me. Insomnia. Lying in bed and my brain going round and round and worrying about things.
Wow. So obviously you mentioned your book, and I really want to, while we have some time, to go through a couple of questions that I have regarding it. So can you walk me through your thought process of deciding that you want to do this book? And I guess this is, sort of a trivial question, but what would you like people to gather from this? What would you say is the missive of what you wrote?
All right, let's start with the second question first.
Okay.
When I used to co-write, perform, and produce on records, mm-hmm. I had an extraordinarily personal umbilical connection to the recording process and what we're doing. Having the responsibility of forming the content, I had to work through a relationship with my thinking process to try and write something that had some degree of freshness or interest in it. There are only 6 songs that exist. I love you, I hate you, I feel good, I feel bad, the world's great, the world's fucked up. Pink Floyd has song number 7, which is The Question. Okay, so there are 7 songs.
Yeah.
And that's a process that takes time with yourself. Now, and remind me the aspect of the second question again.
What would be the missive of the book? How would you describe the missive?
All right, I'm back on. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got me back on the rails.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go through this process of making this record.
Yeah.
And it's intensely personal. And it's intensely personal with the people you're doing it with. And you take it to Sterling Sound in New York, where George Marino does the mastering, which feels like getting your homework graded. I mean, if you don't know who George Marino was, look him up. He was the greatest master. All right. And that's it. End of process. And at that moment, you learn that the record is not yours anymore, that it belongs to whoever buys it. And whoever buys it and listens to it will respond to it through the prism and the filters of their own experience and their suppositions of what you're on about. And they may think you're talking about something that you're absolutely not talking about, that you have a different motivation behind the song. But what you learn is your ownership in the song ends at the point where it goes to manufacture and sale. It's not yours anymore. It belongs in someone else's life. So it's the same with the book.
Mm-hmm.
Someone gets the book. What I hope is they laugh. What I hope is they go, that's interesting. That's actually interesting. And one of the things I tried to do was to keep in mind that I was not writing for fans. There is nothing in that book that a devout GNR fan doesn't already know, that a devout Great White fan doesn't already know, that a devout Havana Blackthorn fan doesn't already know. The devout, I mean, I'd go to Japan and be amazed at the fans in Japan who basically knew what we all had for breakfast. I mean, just ridiculous. So people are going to know it anyway. What they don't know is my particular viewpoint on it. And the whole book is put together in such a way as it should be like a record.
Yeah.
Each little story is a separate track. They all stand alone. One track does not depend on another track for continuity. And I tried to remember, do not write it for the fan. Write it for the curious. Write it for the person who's in the airport, who looks at the cover and thinks, yeah, maybe. I'll see if that gets me down to Arizona on my flight. That's who I hope I wrote for. The people who find it entertaining and interesting without being devout followers of the people in the book.
Oh. That's beautiful. And, you know, I find great analogy in what you've said, in terms of, in essence, what art in general is as well. You know, that it breathes and it lives in the perception that people has about it, which I think it's entire beauty. You know, it's not something that you do with. Yeah.
Art is entertaining and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to look at it as a line. And at one end of the line, you have the painter, the sculptor,
mm-hmm.
the person who works with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
At the other end, you have the person sitting at what used to be a typewriter, but is now a computer rocking away.
Yeah.
The artist at that end of the line, the painter, the sculptor, could give a rat's ass about what anybody thinks about what they've done. Mm-hmm. They've done it for themselves, and that's all that's important to them. And what you think about it is absolutely irrelevant and probably completely and utterly wrong. Mm-hmm. I was thinking of something else. Mm-hmm. The writer writing the book is desperate for an audience, desperate to be recognized for the statements. They are the other extreme, the other opposite. We have in the middle. In the middle, you have the musician. Mm-hmm. The words of the song matter, but how I play my guitar is how I play my guitar.